Hi everybody and welcome to Thursday's TNT. Just to start with, thoughts go out to all those people up there in northern parts of northeastern and western Thailand suffering torrential rains and floods. Certainly a bit of a problem up there. We'll go into some news of that a little bit later. But on this Thursday, the 10th of August, people wake up today to, I think a lot of Thais would think of a horrifying prospect. This headline from Thai PBS World: hopes for per Thai PM fade as Conservative parties eye power. A bit of a back to the future there. We'll check some of the details later, but just very quickly, the Conservative Party's in pole position as Per Thai struggles to form a coalition government. After almost 3 months after May the 14 general election, Per Thai officially formed a new alliance with Phumjai Thai on Monday and announced they're open to more political parties joining to form Thailand's next government. So you would have thought they're on their way to get that 251 plus majority in the lower house. Together, Per Thai, with 141 MPs, and Phumjai Thai, with 71, have 212 MPs, still about 40 votes short of a majority in the 500 MP House of Representatives. But that's certainly insufficient, as the new coalition needs at least another 164 votes from the lower house and the 250-member Senate to ensure that their PM candidate wins the required majority. That's 376 votes from Parliament. So this 2017 charter, which heavily weighs the conservative military-backed parties and needing the Senate to be involved in the election of a PM, is causing all these problems and making it, very, very difficult to get any sort of new government formed out of the votes from the May 14 election. It says the Per Thai's previous alliance with Move Forward boasted 312 MPs, 100 more than the new coalition, but their PM candidate, Pita, obtained only 13 votes from the Senate. At the moment, the Senate and the Conservative side, the military-backed side of Thai politics, is holding all the cards. We'll check more of that news later, but to this story, back to practical issues, and Thai taxi drivers need to tell passengers to buckle up. And this from the parliamentary.com. I would have thought that it was already law that you had to buckle up in a taxi, but apparently not so. Passengers in taxis or other public transport vehicles will now be required to fasten their seatbelt during each trip, according to the Royal Thai Police. The new requirement, published in the Royal Gazette, primarily focused on taxi drivers. It requires the chauffeurs, very fancy, to verbally tell passengers to fasten their seatbelt or have a sign visible to passengers that warns them to buckle up. Well, back in my home country of Australia, I think we had compulsory seatbelts back in the 1970s or so. Certainly, any time I got into a car that I can remember, the first thing you did was just put your seatbelt on. Here in Thailand, maybe less so. When I sit in the back seat of a taxi, I really don't think about putting the seatbelt on. Then again, when I travel in a taxi, I usually travel in the front seat, which, as I've discovered, is a bit of an Australian thing. I think it surprises a lot of taxi drivers when you open the passenger side door and hop in, and they sort of have to shuffle around and get their lunch off the seat and put it in the back and move the front seat back again. The story goes on to say other public transport vehicles are also required to have a sign or an audio recording that tells people to wear their seatbelt. And there are other requirements, including drivers must inform passengers to sit in their designated seat. Well, in a taxi, you don't have a lot of choice. Passengers cannot sit on supplementary seating illegally provided by the driver. Passengers are prohibited from standing inside a moving vehicle, except when there's designated area for standing. And passengers must not stick any parts of their body outside a moving vehicle. Well, that is a shame. It'll mean that people can't do this, for example. So no hanging your bottom out of a taxi anymore. I'm sorry to those people who feel that they're going to be disadvantaged by that new law. Now, on much more serious matters, Pattaya man shoots himself dead at Rayong shooting range. This also reported in the parliamentary.com. And a Pattaya native killed himself at a shooting range in Rayong province Tuesday afternoon. Rayong is the province directly south of Chonburi and the Pattaya area. The shooting was reported to Thai police about 3:30 yesterday, and police identified a 40-year-old, a Pattaya native. He was lying in a pool of blood with a gunshot wound to his right temple. The police collected from him a 9mm pistol dropped nearby. He was pronounced dead upon arrival at a local hospital. And it says that an unidentified gun instructor informed police that the man arrived at the shooting range in his pickup truck. He then rented a gun with 20 bullets, and after finishing filling up the magazine, he suddenly immediately shot himself in the head before instructors could intervene. And the instructor also noted the man had visited the range to shoot a gun before, and there'd been no issue. His motive was still under investigation, and his family was informed. This unfortunately happens from time to time at these shooting ranges around the country. I think people from countries in the world where you're not allowed to own a gun enjoy the idea of being able to come to Thailand and just pop on in, grab a live weapon and shoot it at a target. But there's really nothing stopping you from, using that weapon for other purposes whilst you're in the range. Certainly it seems to be quite unregulated. And, in my view, it might be better just to close these places down. I'm sure a lot of people disagree, but that's the story, a sad story from Pattaya, reported in the PattayaNews.com. We move now to an update on that story about the Asoke Ashton Towers in Bangkok, and reported in the BangkokPost.com. Residents promised aid in the Asoke condo drama. And prosecutors have pledged to help residents of the Ashton Asoke condominium in the Watana district after its building permit was withdrawn. Now, I've shown you before where it is, but it's basically directly behind the Terminal 21, which is next to the Asoke BTS in Sukhumvit Road. And it notes that the building permit was withdrawn. Then further down, the already finished 50-store condo in Bangkok's business district also faces the prospect of being demolished if its developer fails to rectify the entrance problem in time. Well, the Bangkok governor came out last week saying that that won't happen. Very difficult to imagine they won't be able to come up with some solution without demolishing the building. And condo owners and renters in the building have been asking for legal help from various parties and agencies. On Wednesday, they handed their petition to the Office of the Attorney General. And then it says the entrance issue may be solved through consultation with the BMA, the Bangkok Metropolitan Administration, who basically are responsible for what's happening at that particular site. He says the law allows for the issue to be settled through talks between parties involved. If no settlement is forthcoming, the Office of the Attorney General will begin legal action on the residents' behalf. And then last week, the BMA insisted it had approved the construction permit for the Ashton Asoke condo in strict compliance with regulations. The approval was granted as the company had satisfied all the required criteria. Well, clearly they didn't cross the T's and dot the I's when it came to an entrance or a legal entrance from the Asoke Road. And the BMA added there was no need to knock down the condo and residents were free to remain in the building. Yes, the Bangkok governor said that last week, and the administration will look to see if the condo can build an alternative entrance that meets the required width of 12 metres to either Sukhumvit, Soi 19 or 21. 12 metres. They're going to be really hard-pressed to find a 12-metre wide entrance onto either of those roads. I think they'll be able to suffice and compromise to something a little bit more reasonable, maybe something that will allow 2 cars or trucks to pass by. They certainly don't need 12 metres. A big thank you to our sponsor, by the way, 5 Star Marine, a great team of people, and they've been sponsoring the program for the last year. And I think they're going to continue to do so. Now, for the people who do come to Phuket, would like to go out onto Phang Nga Bay, maybe onto the Andaman coastline, inspect some of the beautiful areas around here. Now, I can highly recommend 5 Star Marine. There's a link in the description below if you'd like a special discount. Thursday's TNT, and thank you very much for joining us. Please subscribe to the channel if you do get a chance. Our next story comes from the Bangkok Post, and the FTI announces a glum export outlook. and exports may contract by more than 2% this year, following an interest rate hike by the US Federal Reserve and concerns over higher global energy prices in the winter. And this from the Federation of Thai Industries. And the committee's best case scenario for exports is zero growth. And the chairman of the FTI says the global economic outlook in the second half of this year is not good. Even higher goods orders during the Christmas and New Year celebrations in December can hardly boost exports. And then exports of agricultural and agro-industrial products contracted by 8.6% year on year in June, while industrial product exports dropped 4.6%. Global oil prices are increasing in part because Saudi Arabia decided to extend its unilateral cut of oil production by around 1 million barrels a day through to the end of September in an effort to lift energy prices, according to media reports. So a whole lot of issues outside of Thailand's control causing some of these problems, including this one. Another issue is high household debt, which amounts to 16 trillion baht, or 90.6% of the GDP. So plenty of economic concerns there for the new Thai government. Oh, we don't have a new Thai government. Another story from the Bangkok Post today. 34 billion baht Koh Samui Bridge project starts public hearings. And the Express Authority of Thailand held the first public hearing for its plan to build a 20-kilometre bridge linking the mainland to Koh Samui, with construction due to start in 2028. And the hearings are being held in 3 areas that are expected to be impacted by the project, including Nakhon Si Thammarat, Suratani and Koh Samui. They were selected as the project will link Koh Samui to either Suratani's Donsak district or Nakhon Si Thammarat's Kanom district. The hearings focus on the suitability of the project in various dimensions, including engineering, the financial impact and environmental impact. A bridge connecting the resort island with the mainland in Donsak district would provide an overland transportation option, in addition to air and ferry links, which are currently the only modes of travel to and from the island. Well, currently, if you want to take the land option, you have to go to the Donsak Pier in Suratani and then wait for the car ferry. Now, whilst it's a good service, sometimes you have to wait sometimes for 2 or 3 ferries to arrive, or you can make a booking. It's not terribly well organised at either end, but that's the way that you get there by land. As far as the airport's concerned, it's a monopoly. The airport's owned by Bangkok Airways, and they've been gouging the prices for people travelling to Koh Samui for many years, certainly a hindrance to the future prospects of tourism. Hence the reason why this bridge would be quite a game changer for the island. And the bridge is also expected to reduce the time needed to attend to public health emergencies on the island. It's expected to cost around 33.9 million baht, and that's 31.4 billion baht on the construction, and the rest for acquiring land at either end of where that bridge lands. And here's a bit of a diagram from the Bangkok Post, and it shows the 2 options, one from the Donsak Pier over to Koh Samui and the other from the Kanom district of Nakhon Si Thammarat, some 18 to 20 kilometres, depending on which particular route they decide in the end, and just an artist's impression of what the bridge would look like. And of course, like anything in Thailand, any road, you've got to have places to stop and have a bit of a snack along the way. So I'm not sure if it'll end up looking quite as grand as that, but at least the artist has had a good go at drawing what the bridge could look like. The new bridge to Koh Samui, potentially ready by 2028. So it's Thursday's TNT. Thank you very much to our subscribers for tuning in. Now, a bit of a follow-up to the story of His Majesty the King's son returning after 27 years. This from the BBC. Royal Prodigal Son's return stirs up Thailand. Now, there's parts of this article I'd probably better not read. I'll put a link in the description, though, so you can read the full article if you are so inclined. And the story written by Jonathan Head, who, of course, is the BBC Southeast Asian correspondent. And this week, people in Thailand have been distracted from the endless wrangling to form a new government by the unexpected arrival from the United States of a cheery-looking 42-year-old Thai lawyer visiting the country of his birth for the first time in 27 years. And then it notes the succession became problematic after the king's eldest daughter, the most plausible heir, collapsed last December. She's still in a coma and seems unlikely to recover. Now, between the time of her collapse and now, I think most Thais are much more understanding of what's happened in that particular case. And for years there's been quiet talk in Thailand about the possibility of one of the estranged sons being rehabilitated and brought back to play a royal role. And Mr. Vajrasaorn's unannounced visit could be the start of such a rehabilitation. Rehabilitation's a strange sort of word. Reuniting perhaps might be better, although there's been no official statement from the palace. He's also had what appears to be official engagements, meeting Thailand's most senior religious figure, the Supreme Patriarch of the Buddhist Sangha, who's appointed by his father, and visiting a childcare centre sponsored by the palace. Many Thais will interpret this as showcasing his potential for royal duties. Now, these visits have been carefully choreographed. There's no way he just arrived with a backpack to have a week in Thailand just having a quick look around. And the story says that Thai succession law leaves it to the monarch to designate his successor, which King Vajiralongkorn has not yet done. So not really much more I can read in that particular story. I've left a link in the description if you'd like to read the rest of Jonathan Head's analysis from bbc.com. Time to move on to a bit of political news now, and today, August the 10th, was the day that former Prime Minister Thaksin was meant to arrive back in Thailand. Well, he did say that he was going to put it off for at least 2 weeks because of a doctor's appointment. I hope your doctor's appointment goes well, sir. But there has been plenty happening, and it's not as if I could just point you to one particular story. There's probably 10 different stories that point to this or that happening, and it's all a little bit of a mess at the moment. I'll bring you these stories in a hope to try and clarify where things are going, but really, nobody really knows. And Khao English on their Facebook page at the moment says Thai Party PM candidate Pattongtarn Shinawat said Wednesday her father, the ousted and fugitive former Premier Thaksin Shinawat, will return to Thailand soon, but the exact date may not be announced in advance, and there are many surprises, she says. Ah dear, that's all we need, more surprises. And another Facebook post from Khao English says the Thai Party PM candidate Pattongtarn Shinawat said she and her colleagues met with the Move Forward Party leader Peter Limjaroenrat yesterday afternoon to discuss how they can ensure that the country can continue to move forward. So last week they dumped the Move Forward Party from the coalition. Now they visited their headquarters yesterday. And Pattongtarn, who added the two parties have no problem in their relationship, would not say whether Thai has managed to solicit support in the upcoming PM vote from the Move Forward Party, however. So you can imagine that we need those 376 votes to get a new Prime Minister, which is a majority of the combined lower house and upper house. At the moment, they need those 250 senators to vote for a Prime Minister. You can imagine if the Thai Party, now aligned with Phumjai Thai, voted with maybe a few of the other MPs or the smaller parties, plus the Move Forward Party, they'd be able to have 376 votes in the lower house to vote for a Prime Minister. They wouldn't even need the Senate. That would be a huge shot across the bows of the conservative and military-backed side of Thai politics. That hasn't happened yet, but I'm pretty sure that's what they're angling for. And ThaiPBSWorld.com said Thai announced an 8-party coalition to form a new government. So they're saying they've cobbled together some other stragglers of MPs in the lower house without Move Forward Party. The Pattaya party announced yesterday the union of 8 parties to form a new government, which will hopefully put an end to the prolonged political divide in Thailand. In addition to the 2 core parties, Pattaya and Phumjai Thai, the other parties agreeing to join the coalition are Prachachat, Thai Liberal, Chat Patana Kla, Pattaya Rumpalang, Plung Sangkom Mai, and Tong Ti Thai. I'm sure I've murdered all those names, but at least you can read them. In a statement issued today, Pattaya claimed that the coalition now commands more than half of the 500 seats in the House of Representatives, adding that they hope it will be able to ease political tension and resolve political conflicts. So if you do happen to get your calculator out, you'd understand that they still don't have 251 MPs in the lower house, even with those 8 parties. And the prospect is they're going to have to either get Palang Pracharat or the United Thai Nation Party into that coalition, both what they call the uncle parties, the ones during the election campaign they swore they would never form a coalition with. So Thai in a really difficult position at the moment as we have this political impasse some 3 months plus after the election. Back in May the 14th this year. On to some weather, and Nation Thailand reporting 8 provinces in the north, the northeast at risk of flooding from Thursday. The National Water Resources Committee yesterday warned 8 provinces near the Mekong River to beware of possible floods due to heavy rain from Thursday to Tuesday. The 8 provinces are Chiang Rai, Loei, Nong Khai, Buang Kan, Nakhon Phanom, Mukdahan, Amat Charoen and Ubon Ratchathani. Ah dear, a day where I have to read out all these Thai words, and again apologies for my horrendous pronunciation. I really do try my best. And the Mekong River has been rising due to continuous rain, and the river may even break its banks if the rain continues as forecast in the north and northeast, according to the committee. Well, the Mekong either in flood or a complete drought, obviously a huge concern up there at the moment, and our thoughts to all the people who are being affected by the flooding, the heavy rains, and the breakdown of some of those roads in those areas. And with that, I thank you very much for watching today. Hopefully you're a bit more up to date with things happening around Thailand. Please subscribe to the channel before you go, if you haven't already done so, and we look forward to seeing you again tomorrow.